Good afternoon. I hope that you have a great and blessed weekend. Um, the word for me this week is compassion. Compassion. I go to the grocery store with my mask on these days, and I will catch scowls for people who seem to just think that I'm ridiculous for wearing a mask, or I go running in the park, and when I run outside, I try to keep my social distance and don't get within 6 feet of people. But when I'm running and breathing hard, I still don't wear a mask. And again, I have gotten scowls because of my choices. I, I just think that sometimes what we need is a real sense of feeling with other people and the kinds of choices that they make, whether we agree with them or not. To have some sense of capacity to feel with others. Do you have ever known somebody that just really gets you? They know how you feel, and they help bear the burden of your weaknesses. And even though you have difficulty, they understand that difficulty. They know what it's like, and they really help you through it. It's wonderful when you encounter compassion in today's judgmental world, I think. And so I just want to say a word about God's compassion. Um, when the Israelites really got to know who God was, when God revealed His name, particularly after the sin of the golden calf, they no sooner made a covenant with God and they broke it and they blew it, and Moses is interceding for them, and God comes and shows compassion on Israel, and hiding Moses in the cleft of the rock, God passes before Moses, and this is what God says He is. When God defines His character and gives Himself a name and passes before Moses, this is what He says. And He passed in front of Moses, proclaiming, Yahweh, Yahweh, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet He doesn't leave the guilty unpunished. And so while God is not some pushover, He doesn't leave the guilty unpunished. God, the Lord, the gracious and compassionate, the compassionate and gracious God. I think of the father looking at the prodigal coming home, and the Bible says that while the prodigal son, the wasteful child that's rebelled against his father and is coming back, while he was yet still far off, the text says the father was full of compassion. He was filled with compassion. James chapter 15, or chapter 5, verse 11, says something that ought to stay with us, and I'll leave you with this week, this weekend. The Lord is full of compassion. And wouldn't it be wonderful if everybody would look at us and say, hey, he gets me, she gets me, that girl is full of compassion, that man is full of compassion. I think it would point everybody to God. God bless your weekend.